All Scouts taking part in the World Jamboree in South Korea are to be evacuated from the campsite early because of an incoming typhoon. 4,500 British Scouts and volunteers had already pulled out of the 12-day event, blaming high temperatures and unsanitary conditions at the camp and saying it had become a health risk.
This is the unluckiest jamboree in Scouting history. First came floods, then a heatwave, and now a typhoon. But it was not the extreme weather that caused the Brits to pack up and leave. It was a lack of shade, food, and the filthy toilets and showers.
We felt that it was not a safe environment to be in. And we knew when we took that decision how difficult that was going to be for young people who've spent 2 years raising money, and that's why we feel so let down.
The organisers were unprepared for the weather and an event of this scale.
I think for the next Jamboree, I think some questions need to be asked about making sure that the location is right and safe, the weather is right and safe, the season is right and safe, and that all of the preparedness is done well in advance. I have no doubt the organisations have a checklist they go through to make sure that everything is safe and ready. I think it will be added to after this event, and I think that's the right thing to do.
The World Scout body has been pushing the organisers to close this site for days. Finally, they've decided it won't withstand the winds. 35,000 teenagers are being moved to schools and sports halls. Activities are being rearranged. But for the Brits who left early, it's cost them well over £1 million.
Participants are not going to pay more. They're not going to pay more. They've already fundraised enough.
So who is paying for it?
It will come out of our reserves. You know, we had commitments to those reserves. That will, of course, mean that we can't now do things that we wanted to do over the next 3 to 5 years.
The UK wants an inquiry into what went wrong. For now, the incoming typhoon is providing cover for an event that seemed dangerously out of its depth.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
We can take you now live to Jean McKenzie, who joins us from Seoul. So Jean, for the Scouts, obviously unsettling and really disappointing what's happened, but what are the other impacts on them?
Yeah, I mean, we heard just there in the report the chief executive say that it's going to cost them, or this is costing them, well over £1 million, and that could actually impact their programmes for young people for the next 3 to 5 years. The chief executive also told me earlier that it might actually mean that they have to admit fewer Scouts into the organisation in the short term, which will be disappointing for the 100,000 young people who are on the waiting list in the UK at the moment to join the Scouts. Clearly, they are taking a huge hit here. This decision to leave early has been a real financial burden, and I think it shows just how much they agonised over this decision. It wasn't something that they took lightly. With all the Scouts now due to leave the site, they are saying that their decision to be the first out of the door was a good one, because it's meant that they've managed to get all their young people into hotel rooms safely here in Seoul, and those hotel rooms are now going to be incredibly sought after. So their message to parents today really is, who are disappointed and frustrated that their children are not having the experience that they saved for and that they were promised, is that really they have been acting at every stage with kind of safety first.
Jean, thanks for joining us from Seoul.